I have no idea what makes you start. But that's one of the things that, people again and again keep asking, so how do you do stuff? How do you do right? Where do you do this and so on? And you know just as well as I do that we don't know really where it comes from, there's some kind of a compulsion or compunction that all of a sudden starts, kicks you in the butt, and it moves it out. Some people say it's a rhythm, that's what Elliot did. You can say Frost says it's some kind of a musical thing. He wanted to say the sound mattered more than the sense, which of course was a lie because he cared very much about manipulating the sense. I mean, there's no truth in any of the stuff we say about this kind of thing, or only a half a truth at the most. But all of a sudden there was an image, and I don't know, I picked it up, of a kind of jade-colored cat. And that's the very first one. That was the very first figure of it. And then what happened over the years, because the first book came out when Bob Giroux was still the real editor at FSG. And then some years went by, and the cat came back as a kind of secret figure, an alternative figure, a mask if you want, or also a figure who could simply exploit what was going on in the political and economic world of the country. This is even back in Clinton days, when things really, after the first invasion of Iraq, things really began. J. Meek and I put together an anthology of poems against the war, against the Gulf War, about it. Feeling very serious about it. And then it also seemed to me, it came to me even more clearly than it had before, that one of the real obligations of poetry, poetry underlies our linguistic culture in terms of its expression. I mean, there are all kinds of jokes, there are all kinds of things, there are stand-up comics, there are all kinds of stuff, but the real preserver of the pectin that holds the language and makes it gel is poetry. And that seemed to me to have to make an immediate response. It had to make a significant but not limited response to the social and political activity that were going on in this country as it was getting worse and worse and worse. And that prompted the return of the blue cat. And then the exacerbation of the whole climate under the Bush, in other words, the last 8 years, got the cat to take a walk around the earth as well. And at the moment, there aren't specifically other cat poems, but they keep happening. 'Cause it's very tricky. As you probably know, it's very tricky to write a political poem. Write a political poem that's going to have any meaning. Certainly 5 months later, 5 years later, it's almost impossible. Have you ever reread some Kenneth Fearing?
It's been a while.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You sympathize with his position, you sympathize with the issues, you see the whole thing in terms of the Spanish War, the 30s and the problems. But to try and say that this is really the poetry of the 30s, you can't. Other people are going to get it. So my intention was to try and write a poetry that would in itself keep, but that would also have immediate appeal because of its musical interpenetration. It's not just a musical accompaniment, but it's music that is then fitted as your shoe to your foot, your glove to your hand, to the poetry, so that it moves with the poetry and the poetry moves with it.